Agriculture here in Tennessee put out, we're in a code orange now for our air quality. They're recommending people wear respirators if they have COPD or asthma. So it's a pretty bad situation.
And sometimes the media gets hyper on certain weather events. Yeah, that's the biggest snowstorm of all time. Oh, the hurricanes are coming. But this is a real event that we can see.
People's houses could be burning tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not hyping this if you have asthma too. And let me tell you, for the first time, I've been diagnosed with bronchitis and walking pneumonia. Hence my reason for not being on the air after the Trump victory.
Right.
But you can see I'm still nasally, but I am pretty much recovered. But not ever having asthma or bronchial issues, facing bronchitis, and with this mess in the air, I understand what they're going through now. I mean, I have a new respect and understanding for people with bronchitis and asthma and so on and so forth. It's not fun.
No, and
but if you do not have to go outside, we wanted to go see the tall ships. We wanted to see I think the Constitution is here, 3 Columbus ships in Chattanooga, but we decided because of the weather conditions yesterday not to do that, to opt out.
Yeah, and I went a few years ago to see the Nina and the Pinta, and they were beautiful ships. They're worth going to, but not if your health is at risk. If you're going to go to see it, not worth it, unfortunately.
But I'm saying, getting out of your car, going to your business, going shopping, don't stop that. Just don't stay out for any long periods of time. It's the equivalent of you hanging around a campfire.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, but you're not going to hang around a campfire for 6 hours unless you want to inhale all that soot. And by the way, why would anyone want to smoke? I mean, this is what smokers put in their lungs purposely all the time.
Well, this is not as bad as what they put in their lungs all the time.
I mean, I'm beside myself. I don't understand why anyone in this modern day and age would continue to suck soot into their lungs. Are you kidding me?
Well, a smoker's lungs are actually radioactive, believe it or not, because there are carcinogens, radioactive materials in cigarettes that can actually make you yourself have a higher radiation level than even the background radiation.
But I'd never say ban cigarettes, because I believe you have a right to choose. You have a right to kill yourself.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean choose in the sense of kill unborn babies.
No.
But whatever you want to do to yourself, that's fine. You want to jump off a bridge, you want to smoke, you want to take drugs, that's your choice. You're going to suffer the consequences of your choice. Look at this, man. We get the gloat. Look, I'm looking at a map of the United States. The pundits were all wrong. The media was all wrong. Republicans were all wrong. And Russell Stroud, who was right again. Who was right? Who was right?
We were.
Me! I told you he was. I predicted 350 electoral votes. I'm a little shy. I did not believe he would take Pennsylvania, but I'm not surprised about the rest.
What was the final number? 290?
309.
309? Okay.
You cannot have rallies as he had. You cannot have emotion as he stirred up, with not having a massive victory. The news media was anesthetized. This is the problem with Democrats and liberals. They're not bright. They're not. We're dealing with mental defectives. If you married a Democrat, you made a mistake, divorce them. Divorce them. If your friend's a Democrat, unfriend them. If your family's a Democrat or a liberal, shun them. And I'm not joking. Why would you hang with a mental defective? These people are narcissistic nuts. Now, I'm not talking about the average person that says, oh, I'm a Democrat because my mom and dad was. I'm talking about a hardcore Democrat that believes in the views of the platform. Now they're showing their asses. This is interesting. Aren't you glad now that you voted for Donald Trump after you see what's out there? You see, these people know it's over. And let me tell you something. This probably averted an American Revolution. If Donald Trump didn't win, you little wussies out there protesting with your man purses, this would be you against us. And I'm telling you, it's not over yet. This may come to a civil war, Russell.
It could possibly. I mean, we're still not over. It's not over yet.
Not only may it come to a civil war, but I feel sorry, but I mean, I'm thinking about what's going to happen to the other side, since they don't believe in the right to bear arms.
Right.
What are they going to do? Bring their man purses while we have our AK-47s?
I saw a picture the other day on Instagram. This guy said, "Watch out, I'm coming," and he bought on Amazon a pocket knife.
Yeah, we're gonna, the militia's going to go to the unorganized militia's going to Portland with AKs, and what are they going to have? Man purses,
MacBooks.
Yeah, and government once again, liberal government is failing. Never, ever, 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 and I'm not joking. Vote for a Democrat or a liberal ever. They're pathetic. They're absolutely pathetic. Russell, they controlled the Congress for 40 years. I've been involved in politics since I was 13, since 1970. 1970. Because I wanted to know what compelled one person to do something over another. And most of those people are liberal, progressive, socialist Democrats. And I'm going to tell you how you can tell whether you're surrounded with one of these pathetic creatures. If someone is typically pro-death, the killing of unborn babies, they're going to believe in climate change. They're going to believe the more money you make, the more money you should take. They're going to believe in intrusive, restrictive federal central system. They're going to believe in globalism. They're going to believe in stealing your guns. They're going to believe in the EPA, in OSHA, and even the IRS taking your money and redistributing your wealth. They're all cut from the same cloth. They are very evil. They are very they're anti-American. And unfortunately, it took this election to smoke them out. You know, I've been screaming for years on the radio about this, and especially the Republicans. You make me sick. You make me want to throw up. The Republican establishment. This is your fault. This is your fault. Even as of a couple of weeks ago, I talked to one of the heads of the Republican Party. We don't think Trump's going to do it. Because they have a vested interest in him not doing it. Because they thought Paul Ryan in 4 or 8 years was going to be their guy. Mm-hmm. They are floored by the fact that an outsider that spent his own money, that has no allegiance to any lobbyists, that has never run for politics, has obtained the highest office in the world. They cannot believe it.
That's worth noting.
They are shocked.
It's worth saying again, by the way, he's never held office before, and now he's the president. This is his first time in political office.
And they go, oh, he's a racist. Tell me one racist thing he said. Can't do it. If you view the 60 Minutes interview, it was great. What about the LBGTEFGHIJK community? Well, they deserve to have rights too. Well, you know, what about bathroom rights? Are you stupid? Are you that stupid? Do you want a guy that thinks he's a woman going into the bathroom of your 12-year-old? You dumb jackass. Why don't you kill yourself now and do us all a favor? Please. If you're that stupid, take your life. Don't call a suicide hotline and kill your unborn baby and yourself. How about that, you dumbass? You're going to have a guy that thinks he's a girl walk into the bathroom with my 12-year-old? I don't think so. I'll smack you and him. How about that? We're over. This is it. The silent majority has spoken, and I'm the big mouth of the silent majority. We're done taking your crap. You get that, liberals? You get that, socialists? You get that, left-wingers? We are done taking your manure. Keep protesting. The FEMA camps are there for you. They're going to round you up, put you in a FEMA camp, and feed you bread and water until you get deported. That's what we're going to do. You sick lunatics. LBGTAF. What? I'm so sick of it. I'm signing up for stuff. Gender, male, female, other. What the hell? Other? What, monkey? Can monkeys fill out applications? Other? You're a male or a female. You've got a pecker or you don't. If you've got a pecker, you're a male. Do you get that? Why is this so hard? Well, I got it chopped off. Well, you're a male with a chopped off pecker. Certificate says you are, because that's the way it is. Well, no, it's not. We have to rethink these things because we're progressives. You're not a progressive. You're a damn retard. progressive. We believe in climate change. Where's the evidence? That's somebody the other day. David had him on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where's the evidence? Well, I'll talk to a scientist. I did. My scientists that I talked to say it's a fraud. Bring me on. Bring yours on.
That guy's head was going to explode when you were
Can't
talking.
do that. Well, because, listen, liberals run. When you trap them, their head wants to explode because they have to face reality. You want to steal my gun? That's my property right. Government doesn't give rights. We have them from God. We're not in a democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic that lends power temporarily, a limited power, to goofballs that we send to represent or represent us for limited periods of time. The president is not a king. Barack Obama thinks he's a king through his executive orders, but he's not. And the fact that you're a lunatic, Barack Obama, implemented a mandate that in federal buildings, however you feel is the bathroom you can use, shows what kind of nut he is. Now, you can challenge these words at 800-8949, area code 423-800-8949. Am I the angry white male? No, I'm the reasonable white male. And I hate to say that because I don't like to talk color. What difference does it make whether you're white, black, green, yellow? What makes sense is what makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, especially in a free market system, it doesn't matter what you are. You know, nobody cares, especially in this day and age.
No, we don't have a free market system. We have controlled capitalism with the Republicans and Democrats working hand in hand to rip you off. You know, the media is supposed to be the fourth branch of government. We're supposed to be here watching your interests because we know government wants to take your interests away. So we're here to watch your interests. And what happens? You got pathetic MSNBC, NBC, CBS News, ABC News. I'm talking about television because we're a CBS Radio News affiliate. And CBS Radio News is certainly different than CBS Television News. CBS Radio News, I'm going to tell you, it's better than Fox Radio News. CBS Radio News has been the best forever. We are privileged to have them. They do a great job because they report the news. I don't think CBS Television News does. I don't think ABC does, NBC. I don't think any of the major networks do, nor does the Associated Press. Everything is slanted. Is this the end of Donald Trump? I don't care whether you like him or not. I don't want to hear him say, will this be the end of Hillary Clinton? That's not your job. Your job is to report the news, not make it up. And I love how Trump responded because I've done this my whole life. You attack me, I'm dropping a nuclear weapon on you. And that's what Trump does. You come after me, buddy, you better be able to fight. But then they cry. They're not used to it. Liberals, Democrats, and progressives are used to crapping on everybody and the Republicans cowering because you're a bunch of damn cowards. Republicans, you're cowards. You're a bunch of man girls. You're a bunch of sissies in Washington. That's what you are. I hope he cleans the whole lot of you up. Everyone, especially you, Paul Ryan. You need to be the first to go.
And remember, people forget about this now, but Paul Ryan was meeting with a group of Republicans, including Mitt Romney, to talk about endorsing a third-party candidate.
Yeah, I called Mitt Romney Nitwit Mitt when he ran against Obama.
And Mitt called Trump a phony and a fraud, by the way, not too long ago.
Yeah, he isn't. Mitt Romney's a nitwit.
And
he's a total nit. These people live in a box.
I mean, he failed his run for president for a pretty good reason. He's unlikable, and he's not particularly amazing as a political candidate either. His ideas are bland.
And what is it that the media wants someone with no experience in business to run a multi-trillion-dollar country? What, are you just plain stupid, or do you just want to keep your hand out? I watched an interview with a woman from this organization that believed taxation should be up to 90% for equity. What? They really believe, well, I'm a narcissist. See, Democrats, liberals, and progressives are all narcissists. It's about them. We want equity. See, if you make more, we need to spread the wealth. Well, you know, that's called robbery. Try to do that to me and watch what happens. Oh, no, we're going to use the state to do it. The pathetic Democrats controlled this country for 40 years. 40 years they controlled this country until Ronald Reagan came in. And it was a path of destruction with the Democrats, a path of destruction, from getting us involved in wars to Johnson's so-called Great Society wasting trillions of dollars, to forcing radio stations off the air like Reverend Carl McIntyre back in 1968. I lived it. I watched Reverend Carl McIntyre lose his radio station license because he was anti-Democrat, socialist, liberal, and communist, and he couldn't find the opposing point of view. We were under the so-called fairness doctrine back then, that if you gave a point of view, you had to find the opposing point of view. We couldn't find it. I've been on the air since the 70s. I have trouble getting people to come on with me. So I have to give the opposing point of view. I don't now, but I do. I try to. I try to turn into a retard with the opposing point of view. But he lost his license. They forced him out because he didn't pull the party line, and that's what they do. Look at Lois Lerner attacking conservatives and Republicans, and she skirted the IRS releasing information, which is a violation under Title 26, the tax code. You get 5 years in prison if you release somebody's tax returns. I want to see Trump investigate the Internal Revenue Service, Lois Lerner. I want him to investigate the FBI. And I want to know what James Comey was afraid of, because this is a man's man. He's not a coward. He's not typically afraid. He was threatened. And I want to know how he was threatened. And we need to get rid of that Department of Justice loser. Who am I talking about?
Who are you talking about?
Come on.
In the DOJ?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Her
name. Loretta Lynch.
Thank you.
Attorney General.
You pass.
Thank you.
She needs to go. The Attorney General's office has become a political hack office for the purpose of, what did Barack Obama say? Fundamentally changing America. What the hell is it that we can't listen to words?
What needed to fundamentally change anyway?
I'm telling my family in the 70s and 80s, there's this thing called the New World Order. It's going to happen. I'm the nut. I've had more people call me over the past 5 years saying, for the past 30 years you've been right. I said, no, I'm right. I don't say anything unless I'm right, because I'm probably the smartest person in the room. You're right. I know I'm right, because I listen.
I think you're the only one.
And in 1984, we see George Bush Sr., the big socialist George Bush Sr., come on, dude. This is going to be a new world order. Get a clue. Get a clue. The new world order is here, and it's failing America, and it's failing you, and it's time to retake this country. Back after these on Binary.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you'll make all year.
A $500 gift card.
$500? What?
That's right, Bunky. A $500 gift card from a store of your choice. The agents at Exit Realty Scenic City are confident they can sell your house. They can do it in 99 days or less. If your listing proves a slowpoke, they will give you a $500 gift card. No one works harder for you than agents at Exit Realty Scenic City. Licensed in Tennessee and Georgia. Exit sells quickly all types of commercial and residential properties and vacant land. Looking for a dream home, or maybe you're just a first-time home buyer? Let an agent get you started today on your house search. If you're a real estate agent looking for a change, see what Exit can do for you. Training, technology, branding, culture, and financial freedom. Again, Exit Realty Scenic City. Call 423-551-EXIT to learn more. Call 423-551-EXIT and learn more.
Terms and restrictions may apply.
Cat
Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis has the cash when you sell gold, silver, diamonds, rings, and jewelry. Sell Rick your precious metals today and lock in your price. Hey, Rick Davis will trade your cash for shiny, brilliant, and heavy gold. Gold cheaper now by $100 an ounce. Join the Rick Davis Silver Bonanza too. Price is so low, the Lone Ranger is bound to gallop in, Kimosabi.
Hey-ho, silver, away!
The markets are changing, so buy now. Cash, 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 and more cash for your silver and gold, gold, gold. Rick Davis, 5301 Brainerd Road. That's 5301 Brainerd Road. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Oh, and cash, cash, cash. You know where it is.
Hey-ho, silver, away!
We're at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Yes, ma'am. 2 orders of nachos with beef and beans and 2 beers. Chattanooga loves its Amigos restaurants, but the Amigos in Hickson has something extra. NCAA, the week's big game. How about a house wine? Really good. Big name beers. Just tell Maria what you want. And here at Amigos, margaritas are popular. And it's only $3 a day. If you come here on a game day, Saturday, a Natty Light is only $2.25. Here at Amigos, just during NCAA, Natty Light, $2.25. Amigos Mexican Restaurant in Hickson. The happy hour is 3 to 9 today and every day. I'd say the atmosphere is festive. Look at that huge TV. It's like being amid the fans under a bright sun, but without all the heat. Stay cool. Quench your thirst. Amigos, between the Staples and Hobby Lobby. Take the table next to mine and enjoy the great NCAA game with friend or family here at the Cantina at Amigos Mexican Restaurant. Okay, it's starting.
Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips, Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. I'm in the business of saving people money. And if you want to save money, pick that cell phone up right now, 805-9100. I received a call that I won't forget. The guy is a Chattanooga police officer who served our great country in the Air Force. A true American hero. Our hero is renting, which costs too much for a space too small. We helped him achieve the American dream. And the best part is this. He purchased a $180,000 home with 0 down. His payment is $200 less than what his rent was. And now he has a safe place with more space to raise his family. It's easy, and you can do it too. It just takes 10 minutes and 1 phone call. 805-9100.
Turn a house into a home.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. Murder-suicide shocks Bradley County. The gruesome deaths of Max and Sue Liner, who died both from gunshot wounds, are now believed to be a murder-suicide case. Criminal Investigations Unit on scene investigating. A woman heard a popping sound as she was walking down the block on North Chamberlain Avenue and found that she herself had been shot. She was rushed to the hospital. She's now recovering. The police believe the gunman is still on the loose. On North Access Road at a roundabout, a car careened into a Toyota Prius, crushing the 2 vehicles like accordions. The firefighters had to pry the 2 victims out of their cars. One is seriously injured after this head-on collision. The driver of the wrong-way vehicle has been released from the hospital. A burn ban is now in effect for Hamilton County while the fires rage on surrounding Saudi Daisy and beyond. Several thousand acres have been engulfed in flame. Some areas have been evacuated. You too can make a child's dream come true from the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home. Go to the Christmas tree at Chick-fil-A, pick out a tag, and make a child's dream come true.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Expect some sunshine, hazy and smoky weather out there through your afternoon. Highs mid and upper 60s tonight. Fair. Once again, hazy, lows near 40. For Tuesday, a few passing clouds, still dry for the next several days. Highs upper 60s, back into the 70s for the midweek. The halls are decked at Abba's House Bookstore and Cafe in Hickson. Get a meaningful gift and feel good that the proceeds go to missions. Come check us out in the front lobby of Abba's House in Hickson. For discounts, abbashouse.com/coupon. And I'm Source Gene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
It should come as no surprise nowadays, anyway, that the media would lie to you about what was going on during the election. But one of the funniest things to me, anyway, about what's happened in the last few weeks is this constant barrage of claims that Trump can't win. Oh, Trump's not going to win. He couldn't possibly. And all these different factors that they said went into why he couldn't win. Most of them were because of accusations of racism and sexism. And there are people who are never going to vote for him because they're women, and women will never vote for Trump. And then they said blacks will never vote for Trump. And they said Latinos will never vote for Trump. But that turned out to not be true on all counts. And it's funny, the media breakdown that's occurred. It was really an absolute breakdown in both mentality and mental stability. This complete breakdown. I mean, think about it. Right now, we've got several commentators on CNN who don't know what to say. Who are sorry, not Wolf Blitzer, but Chris Matthews, who came out even defending Trump, saying that the policies he had aren't actually racist and sexist. Wow, amazing, right? Something that we knew the whole time, because we kept trying to say Trump is not racist and he's not sexist, but that narrative just didn't fly for some reason. Because that's how the left handles things. You have to understand how it works. That's how the left handles most things. If there's a candidate who has really good arguments, who is making good points, and they can't really rebut them with facts, they'll come in with an accusation of racism or sexism or any other ism that is supposedly there to debunk whatever the person is saying. So they'll say, as an example, Trump's policy on the wall. You know, unless you're completely open border, there's not really a whole lot of argument against the wall. So they'll say that his policy is racist, when in actuality, Trump has never said anything at all bad about Mexicans as a people or Latinos as a people. He's talked about criminals who come across the border, to his credit, but he's never said anything at all about how the Mexican people as a whole are these evil, bad people who are out to get us. It's not the case. Why didn't anyone accuse him of racism when he wanted to put tariffs against the Chinese? Because everyone knows that would be stupid. It's the same policy, though. It's just applied in a different way. Trump is not racist against the Chinese any more than he's racist against the Mexicans. It's not there. And I know Mexico is not, or Mexican is not a race. It's a very diverse area down there, and there's a whole lot of different ethnicities that come into play down south of the border. But someone like Trump knows that, and I think your average liberal probably doesn't, because they're so caught up in race all the time that they forget all the nuances. That's another thing. I was talking to a guy the other day, or rather, Confederate Mike was talking to a guy the other day, and really got him riled up. And this guy was talking about race reconciliation and how we need to have race reconciliation. Well, I mean, that's all well and good. Yeah, we should all hang out. We should all be cool with each other, and I think that's great. But where do these guys get off? And I think that this is really offensive, honestly. Where do these guys get off where they think they can walk into a room, you know, these white guys walk into a room and say, look at me, I'm going to be your savior, and I'm going to stop racism from happening? You know, how offensive is that? What if I walked into a room and said, hey, guys, you know, I'm this rich white guy, and I'm going to tell you how you should live your lives, and I'm going to tell you why you're oppressed. They don't need you to tell them. They know. And it just makes the situation worse, because they'll have people who are, say you have a friend who happens to be of a different race than yours. And this guy walks in and tells your friend, while you're standing there, why you are oppressing your friend. You know, how? I'm not doing anything to him. My ancestors did 150 years ago, but that's not me. Where does the reconciliation come in? You know, it's people, things that happened 150 years ago do not apply, amazingly enough, to things that have happened today. And yeah, you can make arguments, of course, about civil rights, and that's a valid argument, but that's gone. Amazingly enough, millennials don't have anything at all to do with the civil rights movement, because it happened 2 generations ago. I mean, that's how it is. It happened 2 generations ago, or 50 years ago. So what does the current generation have to do with that? So why are we so racially charged? It seems like it's just proving and moving to separate us more than it is to bring us together. It's ridiculous. And again, you have these white knights who come in and say, look at me, I'm going to be the savior. And it's so narcissistic, because that's what a lot of leftists are. They are narcissistic to the bone, but they will never, ever admit it. Look at what's going on right now with the safety pin movement, right? You got the safety pin people who are wearing these safety pins to show off how tolerant they are, and that they themselves are a safe space. And the safe space terminology drives me nuts anyway. But they look and they, oh, look at me, I'm so tolerant. I've got my safety pin on, so you know I'm tolerant and cool, and I'm hip and with it, and I'm for the kids. You know, and it just goes to show they're narcissistic. because it's not about helping other people. They'll say that all day, but it's not about helping other people. It's about making themselves look good. That's what it comes down to. It's not the same movement at all like you had in the 1960s, where there were legitimate people who had legitimate rights being taken away, and that was a legitimate concern. I know, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? Nowadays, you've got people who have exactly the same rights. While there might be societal differences, you have exactly the same legal rights, and they're telling each other that they're being wildly oppressed by the system. I'm not really getting that. And I understand, yeah, there's police brutality. Yeah, there's bias that happens with people, but people are the problem. You know, people are the problem. And people are always going to be the problem. Until we understand that, until we realize that, you're not going to make any steps forward. Because we keep trying to add legislation or new rules and regulations, more paperwork is what it comes right down to tell people how they should live their lives. And that's going to make people more bitter and less likely to have any form of thought at all for reconciliation. Because you're not going to have it. It's not going to happen. But good luck telling these people that, right? It's nearly impossible because they are so set in their ways. They're so set in this idea that they have to be the saviors of the universe all the time, constantly. And it's so consistent. It's so obvious. But when you call them out on it, they act like you're offending them in the worst possible way. You know, look at you trying to tell me that I'm somehow hurting the black community. Well, maybe you are, though, because you're telling people lies, essentially. You're lying to people. So how is that helping anything at all? You're telling people, look, these people are always trying to oppress you and look how bad things are, but that's not always the case, because now you're going to have a lot of folks who are who hold a lot of animosity towards people who've never done anything at all to them. You know, like for instance, my grandfather was born in the 1920s, 1927. That guy did not have a racist bone in his body. In fact, he was the guy who would always come to the defense of people who were minorities. Because, yeah, it was the 1930s and 40s, mostly the 40s and 50s, in Detroit, where he was growing up. And you had a lot of racism going on in the 1940s and 50s in Detroit. But you know what? My grandpa, he was always the guy who would come to the defense of the minorities. And that's not saying, oh, look at my sainted grandfather. I'm saying people like him, you can't judge a book by its cover, because you're going to see an old white guy and you're going to assume, look at this racist. But really, he was the guy who was sticking up for people back in the day. So you can't make blanket accusations. Just like it's the same thing if I saw a group of African Americans and I said, look at those bunch of gangsters. That's racist. That's terribly racist. So it goes both ways. You can't pretend that it doesn't. But people love to. They love to pretend that it doesn't work both ways, and that white people are always doing the wrong thing and minorities can do no wrong. And yeah, there have been wrong things done on both sides. So until we admit that, you're not going to get anywhere. And the left and the media is constantly baiting it. They're constantly making sure there are tensions all the time. We were at a point in the 90s and the 80s where things were great. It was pretty much over. And then you had the LA riots that broke out, and you had things that happened. And yeah, those were bad things, right? But how should that color how we think of things today? I don't know. It's weird, man. The whole situation that we've gotten ourselves into today is very, to me, it's really a revival, perhaps, of the 80s. I've been thinking about that. Today seems a lot like the 1980s, and a lot of weird things are happening and lining up sort of perfectly. I mean, think about what's going on right now here in Chattanooga. This is Binary, by the way, here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Think about what's happening right now today. Chattanooga is full of smoke. You know, that hasn't happened since the 70s. Chattanooga's full of smoke. You just had a new president elected. You've got a scandal going on with the mayor. You just had a local election where absolutely nothing happened. You've got the whole ordeal now that's been going on with shakeups in the state government, where Todd Gardenhire narrowly avoided a loss in the election here. That was kind of a weird happenstance as well. All these weird things are occurring all at the same time. It's strange. The whole thing is strange. It's like we're living in a transitional period. That's really what it feels like. We're living today in a transitional period, and I just can't shake that feeling. I don't know what it is, but maybe you're feeling the same thing. Number to call in is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com. I want to play you a bit here that is kind of funny, because it shows the media bias that we had during Trump's run for president. And this starts when he first started running, and it ends right as he got the nomination. So that shows you the timeline we've got. It starts around last year and ends around early this year. So this is it's got some music behind it too. So it starts out with the head writer for SNL, I believe, at the time, giving a joke about Donald Trump at a White House dinner, White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. So here we go. Here's the clip. I'm going to play it for you.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
What about Donald Trump? Is he a serious Republican candidate? You know, you guys give him a lot of attention.
Is that people think that Donald Trump is a clown.
Donald Trump is a clown. Now, game is the right word here. I mean, does anybody seriously think that Donald Trump is serious about running for president?
Look, Donald Trump, you know, he's a clown.
But the likely moderator apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown. Is Donald Trump a serious contender?
I like all the Republican candidates.
Whether you believe Trump has staying power or not, history says he doesn't.
11 Republicans fighting to be president. 10 of them have the goal: stop Donald Trump from gaining ground.
So basically, this is the beginning of the end for Trump.
Could it be the beginning of the end for Trump's presidential campaign now?
Could this mark the beginning of the end for Trump's presidential bid?
This is probably starting of the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
The strongest person usually isn't the loudest one in the room.
So far, none of this seems to be able to stop Trump.
You know, Governor, you said in June that Donald Trump won't be the nominee. Are you still convinced?
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Pundits continue to say, ignore this, Donald Trump won't be the nominee.
He's having a moment right now, and it's a little unclear how long this moment's going to last. But
you have Karl Rove and Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney and the Koch brothers and others trying to figure out ways to stop Donald Trump.
Celebrating today this clear front runner with Donald Trump's 7-state win.
It's almost like nothing can move him.
Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. What's the kryptonite for Trump? How do you stop this guy?
He's bowled his way through Mississippi and Michigan, especially if he rubs out Rubio in Florida.
We begin with an out-and-out victory projection in Florida.
Contender Marco Rubio just dropped out of the race.
The state of crisis in the Republican primary.
Well, a small group of conservatives opposed to Trump are meeting today to consider supporting a third-party candidate. Trump is the only Republican with a path to clinching the party's nomination.
A lot of people have laughed at me over the years. Now they're not laughing so much, I'll tell you.
So it just goes to show that even at the very, very, very beginning, they were trying to stop him from attaining the nomination even, not just the win for president, the nomination. Why? Because he represents something that's completely different from everything we've had in the past. That's why. I mean, that is the ultimate reasoning for why. But it's a shame because you could have so many people on your side, and yet they've decided to take what they decide is the moral high ground. And I guess you can't fault them for taking what they think is the moral high ground, but I don't think that's what it is. What it comes right down to is there was a collusion between what you would call establishment and media. And these two groups, whether they were working together or not, were working towards the same goal. It doesn't really matter. They were working towards the same goal of stopping Donald Trump from getting the presidency. Now, whether you agree with him or not, right, whether you think Donald Trump should be president or not, we all have to agree that the will of the people should be carried out. And it seemed very clear going by the primaries that Donald Trump was the person who should have been the nominee. But I will flip this over and say it seemed very clear from the primaries that Bernie Sanders should have been the nominee for the Democratic Party. And I really, truly believe Bernie Sanders got stiffed and cheated out of his position. He should have been the Democratic nominee. And it's unsurprising to me that Clinton is the person who took the seat instead. And we all know how that worked out. Now, Clinton, to her credit, did win the popular vote. But that's only as you started counting California and New York. Now, do you really want California and New York City especially, but the state of New York in particular, to be the ones governing how our country goes? Because California is doing okay economically, but New York City and New York State, not at all. New York City has been bankrupt. And California, well, has droughts and wildfires, and the people there are pretty much insufferable. So there's no reason to allow California to govern the rest of the state anyway. Because Californians, I've noticed, are actually wanting to exit the union. Now, that's funny because last time some states tried to exit the union, we fought a war over it, and the other side was called horrible racist for wanting to leave. Now, isn't that odd? Now it's okay when California does it because California wants to exit the union for peace and tolerance and gay rights, I guess, and taking away people's guns. So that's why they're running or trying to get away. Oh, well, that's okay then. As long as you're doing it for peace, tolerance, the American way, and whatever, then it's all right. I want to tell you about something that I think is really going to make a difference and is going to help a lot of kids. It's the Baptist Children's Home here in Chattanooga. The Chattanooga Children's Baptist Home is doing a lot of good work. And if you go to Chick-fil-A right now, there are Christmas trees out there. If you go to Chick-fil-A and pick out a tag, you too can help a child this Christmas and help to bring gifts to kids who otherwise wouldn't be able to achieve them, wouldn't be able to receive them, I should say. So go to your Chick-fil-A and check out the tree there, and you'll be able to get a tag off of that tree, which you can use then to help a child buy presents, and you can help this kid have a good Christmas. And that's something that I think children deserve, because it's one thing to talk about politics and it's one thing to talk about adults, but children don't have political motivations. Children don't have moral motivations either. Children are children. And children should not be without a good Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever the heck they believe in. Children shouldn't be without that, without food either. And there are charities and there are different organizations which help to achieve the goal of making sure no child is, to put it in those words, left behind, but to make sure that no child is stuck in a situation where he doesn't have food, he doesn't have gifts, he or she doesn't have a warm place to stay. These are things which children should have. And Tennessee Baptist Children's Home is hoping to solve the problem of children going without a good Christmas. And so go to your local Chick-fil-A and you can help out a child have a nice Christmas and make yourself feel a little bit better too. This is something you can do that's going to make you feel good, but not for a selfish reason. Yeah, you should feel good when you help other people, but you're not doing it for you. See, that's the thing about charity. You're not doing it for you. That's something that needs to be made very clear. You are not performing an act of charity for yourself. So political activism and activism of the sort that helps to make sure marginalized people are recognized with their full rights, it's not about you, right? It's not about helping you look better. But a lot of college leftists especially don't see it that way. For them, it is a means of looking better. It's a means of becoming more accepted in their liberal community. It's a means of becoming recognized and seen as a good person. That's what they have to do to be good people, they seem to see. To be a good person, you have to carry out a certain amount of works, and then you're justified. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's kind of interesting how that all works out, both religiously and just philosophically. They believe they have to carry out proper works. You have to do these things in order to attain social salvation. Funny how that works out. And I guess that explains the animosity. Because if you think a certain way or you believe a certain thing, you are suddenly ostracized from any kind of left-leaning community, and they'll immediately call you racist, sexist, whatever. Anyone who disagrees with them is a terrible person. But the thing is, it's not just they think you're a terrible person, it's that they want you to stop talking. They want you to cease existing even. They don't want your message to get out because they don't believe you have a right to say it. That's the odd thing. People who subscribe to leftist ideology very often do not believe you have a right to say what you want to say. Now, I don't want to say I'm conservative, but I'm pretty conservative. I'm as free market and pro-free speech as they come. You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want, and I'm not going to try to stop you. Unless, we're on the air and you're saying swear words or something. That's a little bit different. But in terms of what you can say in a conversation or in public, you can say whatever you want, because you'll hear people say all the time, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. Well, yes, you can. You can say whatever you want. That's kind of what the First Amendment is there for. Now, yeah, fire in a movie theater, all that nonsense. But when it comes down to a conversation, when it comes down to having a certain viewpoint, you can be a full-on Nazi if you want to be. You can be full-on Stalin commie if you want to be. You can be old-school Italian fascist if you want to be. You can be anything you want in your views, and there's nothing legally that can stop you from doing that. That's kind of the amazing thing about the United States. One of the amazing things about America is that you can think and say and believe whatever you want in the United States. You can do that. And most likely you're not going to face persecution, at least societally, and you're definitely not supposed to be facing any kind of recompense or any kind of opposition for your views on a state level. You're not going to have any of that. Now, if your position is we need to, murder somebody, that's a little bit different. But if it's a political position, purely political, where you say, I believe that, say, I have a right to keep and bear arms, you can express that as much as you want all day because it's your right to do so. That's kind of the great thing about America. But in other places, it's not so nice. But we're well on the way to attaining that not so niceness here in the United States, because it turns out that 2/3 of the world's internet users live under government censorship. 2/3 of the world's internet users live under regimes of government censorship, according to The Verge, which is citing a report that was released today from Freedom House, a pro-democracy think tank. It says it finds that internet freedom across the globe declined for a 6th consecutive year in 2016 as governments cracked down on social media services and messaging apps. The findings are based on an analysis of web freedom in 65 countries, covering 88% of the world's online population. Now, the thing is, here in the United States, we don't need censorship the way that other countries do, because in the United States, it has a unique ability to spy on everybody. So censorship is not nearly as necessary when you can spy on anyone you want. Now, here's the thing. When a government can spy on anyone and the public knows they're being spied on, you kind of have a built-in censorship in and of itself, because that knowledge that you're being spied upon is going to make people less likely to speak their minds about things. Whatever their mind might be on. So you now have a built-in censorship just societally and through fear. But also, you don't need to censor what people think, because now that you know what everyone thinks, you can alter media messages, you can alter PR campaigns, you can alter different things to make sure that your message gets out and everyone thinks the right thing. Because you're not going to have a group of people who are thinking too differently, because they're all being taught the same thing in government schools. They're all being taught the same thing in government colluded media. They're all being taught the same thing. You have a populace that is very stupid, but also very smart. You see, a person is really smart, but people, humanity in general, is pretty stupid. Here's the thing with Americans and with people. Americans, in and of themselves, an American is going to be a hardworking, smart individual. But as a whole, Americans tend to believe whatever they're told in media, or at least that used to be the case. I think a Trump win, which we just had, is actually a step in the right direction for people disbelieving media. There's no reason to trust them anymore, and now it's been proven to conservatives and to Republicans, there is zero reason to trust the media. Look at the polls. The polls said Trump had a 99.1% chance of losing. 99.1% chance of losing. Now, I refuse to believe that he won based on a 0.9% margin. I can't believe he broke those odds and managed to be the 0.9% that would win. That doesn't happen. So there's obviously some sort of collusion, obviously some sort of lies going on that we're not being told about. And fortunately now, people are waking up to it. People are getting it. This is Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com. Make sure you go to your Chick-fil-A, to the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home, and check out a tag there and get a present for kids in need. This is Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com. Make sure you listen to us on Facebook and on YouTube as well.
Here's what advertisers are saying about AM 1240. HotNewsTalkRadio.com.
Radio station, they really care. They're always calling me probably once a week, checking on me, seeing how things going, see if they want to change any of the ads or do anything different, seeing what my needs are. I've gotten business off the ads that you do for me, and seems to be working well at this point.
Prices were very fair. Areas in this town that we aren't able to get other ways, your radio station is able to help us out, and I really appreciate that.
We've been very pleased with the services we've got. It seems like everybody over there cares about what they're going to do, how it's going to work for us on this end. And we've been very impressed with the creativity of the ads that we've heard. And they always seem to be right on point, even without us having to come up with what's going to be said.
I've been doing business with News Talk Radio for quite some time. It's the best place and the best value you can get for your advertisement. The commercials are great. They're very professional. I was actually blown away.
The commercial that they put together was awesome. It was way far above all the other radio stations we've dealt with. The best we've had yet, guarantee you, by far.
AM 1240 HotNewsTalkRadio.com gets results. Let us get results for your business. For no obligation free consultation, call General Sales Manager Steve Johnson. Call 423-240-5459. That's 240-5459. Or you can always email Steve at nougaradiosteve@gmail.com. That's nougaradiosteve@gmail.com. AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We get results.
Don't punish your gun by leaving it in a corner. Shoot it, sell it, or just toss it. Okay. Don't toss it. Make money with it. Shooter Supply and Indoor Range, the hottest gun shop in town. Find buyers for your extra firearms. Put cash in your pocket today. Are ARs cluttering your closet? Rugers rusting in your rec room? Shooter's Supply and Indoor Range in Hickson will take your firearm and put it on consignment. To you, that means no money out of your pocket with a small fee when the gun sells. Larry at Shooters has got an online store. He's licensed to ship anywhere. It's as if Shooter Supply were giving your billfold cover fire. Get the biggest number of bucks from the smallest Derringer to the longest Barrett. Maximum price, shortest time. What a great deal. Shooters-range.com. Shooters-range.com. That's shooters-range.com. Check with Larry.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy. Chattanooga.
Previously on the Herd. Records are for losers. Wilt's got 1 million of them. Russell's got 11 titles. Kevin Durant left OKC for absolutely the right reasons. Not for the money, not for the points, not for the records. Wins and titles. A new day in the Herd.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
You guys can laugh at me all you want.
This is the Herd.
The Herd.
With Colin Cowherd.
I'm setting the tone.
Best show on radio. This is the Herd.
Broadcasting live from Los Angeles. The Herd with Colin Cowherd starts now.
This is the Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Christine Leahy joining me as always on a Monday, 1 hour from now, where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong. Plenty of both. In 1 hour from now, we're absolutely packed. You're finally healthy. Rough last week. Slept all weekend. Good to have you back.
Good to be back, Colin. I slept for 3.5 straight days.
And she's back and ready to go. And we're ready to go on a Monday morning. Folks, last night, NBC, you were watching the Super Bowl. Those are the two best teams. Dallas-Pittsburgh was an adorable pillow fight. You score, you score, you score, you score, you score, you score. Those were the two best teams. I'll take Belichick, Pete Carroll. You have Jason Garrett. I'm taking Russell Wilson, Tom Brady. You can have Dak Prescott. That was a Super Bowl. You go look at the box score this morning. First downs, virtually identical. Total yards, virtually identical. Yards per play, virtually identical. Penalties, virtually identical. Time of possession, virtually identical. 2A coaches, 2A quarterbacks. You know, it's funny, too, because Bill Belichick looks like coaches have always looked. Kind of grumpy, terse with the media. Pete Carroll doesn't. Pete Carroll's chewing gum going 100 miles an hour. He looks like a grad assistant with gray hair on the sidelines. He's like a college coach. He's pumping fist. And Russell Wilson, similarly, doesn't look like anybody that's ever played the game. I mean, the only reason Johnny Manziel gets drafted is Russell Wilson. Nobody was going to draft a 5'11", 207-pound guy who ad-libbed out of plays, Johnny Manziel, until you saw Russell Wilson, and everybody went, oh, he'll be just like Russell Wilson, except he's not as smart, he's not as willful, he's not as driven, he's not as efficient, he's not as coachable. This is what is remarkable about Seattle. And I'll be honest with you. If I'm New England this morning, I'm playing them again. At least when New England plays again, I'll make the argument for New England. Losing at home is not a bad thing because these two teams have a strong likelihood of playing again. And I can, for 2 weeks, if I'm Bill Belichick, say, couldn't beat them at home. You're going to have to play your best game. Seattle's going to go into that game thinking, we beat them in Foxborough. Advantage psychologically, New England, when they play, in all likelihood, on a neutral field. I know it's only Thanksgiving, But you're watching that game last night, and you're seeing what I'm seeing. You're seeing 2A coaches, 2A quarterbacks, real defenses, unbelievable psychological warfare on that game. I mean, all sorts of chess matches going on. Pittsburgh and Dallas is a pillow fight. I mean, that's you score, I score, you score, I score, you score, I score. I can't keep a lead. No, I can't keep a lead. Those are good teams, too. Those last night, those are the best teams in the league. Here's what's remarkable about Pete Carroll has created. And we talked about this last week. When you're a really, really, really good business, it doesn't matter where Starbucks is. Airport, your local neighborhood, Beijing, Boise, Birmingham. Doesn't matter. It's the same coffee and the same vibe. Starbucks travels well. Good brands travel well. I got news for you. Seattle home, Seattle away, I can't tell the difference. When this team was younger, when the Seahawks were younger 3 years ago, they were better at home than away. But as they have aged as a brand, as they have aged as a team, Seattle home and away, getting the same team. I'm getting the same team. Russell Wilson home and away, getting the same guy. Pete Carroll home and away, Seattle defense home and away, I'm getting the same coffee. That is a quality brand. And what Seattle has done under Pete Carroll is remarkable. Do you realize Seattle is the only NFL team? They're the only NFL team since 2012. 4-year sample now. That's a big sample. 4 years. They're the only NFL team with no losses over 10 points. That's unbelievable. I don't know what I get Pittsburgh week to week. Steelers half to half. I don't know what the heck I'm getting. New York Giants, quarter to quarter, I don't know what I'm getting. Philadelphia Eagles, Atlanta Falcons, even the good teams in this league, Minnesota, Green Bay, I don't know what I get half to half. Packers are always a better first half than a second half team. Seattle hasn't lost a game by 10 or more, or over 10 points in 4 years. And they only have 2 losses over 8. It's incredible. They're a little smaller and a little faster, and they hit a little harder. And I don't think I've ever appreciated Pete Carroll. I mean, I always knew he was a good coach because I have all my friends in football, and I ask them, they're like, he's quirky, but he's a good coach. I think Pete's a great coach. The fact that Seattle goes on the road after an emotional game on Monday Night Football, short week, they've been on the field, their defense, in the last month more than any other defense, and you got that performance? That is incredible. What other team could go into New England, short week, exhausted physically, and get that emotional peak? Cowboys aren't doing that. Steelers aren't doing that. They don't have the maturity. They just don't. Those were the 2 best teams in the NFL last night. Now, at the end of the game, and again, to me, it was a chess match. If they'd have played in Seattle, it would have been the same thing. At the end of the game, there's the play to Gronkowski. I had no problem with the call whatsoever. What did I say last week on Monday Night Football? I came on 1 week ago, and I said, I think Seattle is the hardest team in the league to officiate because Seattle is so aggressive. They play a psychological game with the officials that over the course of 3.5 hours, and I compared them to the Utah Jazz with Stockton Malone, Coach Jerry Sloan. They were so pushy, shovey, grabby, so physical that over the course of 3.5 hours, officials begin, because they don't want to decide every play. They don't want to blow the whistle for 3.5 hours. Officials start letting more and more and more and more go. If that play is the first play of the game, an officiating crew calls a flag. But instead, here's the final play of the game. I have no problem with the call, and Seattle's aggressiveness for 3.5 hours is why this wasn't called.
Gronk goes to the far side. He's got Chancellor on him. Brady. He's going to throw the ball up for Gronkowski, who pushes off, and it's incomplete in the end zone. He pushed off, and the ball sails over his head in the end zone with 11 seconds left on 4th down. The Seahawks are going to take over on the 1-yard line.
Don't have a problem with it. That's a football play right there. That is a football play right there. And when you watch that game for 3.5 hours, that play was a football play. It was not interference. All right, let me shift gears now. In every Monday, I do something where Colin is right or Colin was wrong. It's on Monday. We do it for about 5 minutes. I make all sorts of mistakes, and then there are some times I'm pretty good. So I'm going to do just one today, an hour early. I will not include this in an hour, but I'm going to do just one before I get to the Steelers Cowboys, because I'm going to get to that. But I'm going to do just one a little early. So go ahead, John.
Where Colin was right?
For the last 8 weeks, the American sports media, I mean everybody except moi, has said once the Hillary-Trump campaign ends, the ratings will bounce back. It's not about Kaepernick. The ratings have been down. It's not about the penalties. It's not about this, blah, 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 blah. Take the emotion out of it. Trump and Hillary figure out who's president, give it a couple of weeks, and the ratings will come back. America didn't suddenly start disliking football. The consumption's been better than ever. People are just not watching as long, and ratings come from two things: total audience and time spent viewing. The ratings are in from last night. Through the roof. You know what else is in this morning? Ratings from the Sunday political shows. Down, down, down. You can listen to other shows, certainly, but if you want the straight skinny without emotion, the truth, and you'll hate me most of the time for it, this is the show. People didn't suddenly hate the league because of Colin Kaepernick. That's what they talk about after a few Heinekens at the local bar. This was about the most polarizing election of our lives. It's now over. Political shows down, often 30% this past 4 or 5 days. NFL ratings yesterday, up, 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 up. All right, around the corner, we have, I got to tell you my takeaway last night on yesterday on the Steelers Cowboys, because I have one really strong takeaway, and I'm going to get to that next. Very strongly about this. Guys, you know I love Dollar Shave Club, and I have been a member for 5 years. Now, initially, I was attracted to it because it was a third of the price, and I'm not a Wolverine, so I don't need like a machete up there. I can have any razor. And then I realized these razors are of good quality, and they're a third of the price. But the good news now is they have decided they want to own the room, the bathroom. DollarShaveClub.com is still a third of the price, but they've got the hair gel. Yeah, Boogie's hair gel, the pomade, the fiber in the clay. Right now, if you have never been a member of Dollar Shave Club, you've never been a member, you will get the first month of razors for free. All you have to pay is shipping, and that's just a few bucks. Join today. DollarShaveClub.com/Colin. DollarShaveClub.com/Colin.
Hey, it's Ben Maller here. Did you know that by turning the tab on a soda sideways, it doubles as a straw holder, or that hole in a pot handle is designed so you can rest your spatula in it? It's amazing how some of the things we use most can easily be overlooked. It's just like how TrueCar also helps people get used cars. That's right. TrueCar isn't just for new cars. Their certified dealer network also has an inventory of over 500,000 pre-owned cars nationwide. So whether you buy new or used, you get pricing information that empowers and a better buying experience through our TrueCar certified dealer network. Here's another fun fact. TrueCar customers receive discounts off the list price for used vehicles and are more likely to enjoy a faster buying process when they connect with a TrueCar certified dealer. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar.com or download the TrueCar app to enjoy a better car buying experience.
Some features not available in all states.
Okay, here we go, people.
This is The Herd.
Where are you again?
With Colin Cowherd.
People are looking at Brady and going, oh my God, what are you going to do? It's pretty obvious. Tom's 39. Now, he's never played better. He's going to be the MVP, and there's no erosion. So most people would say with Tom Brady, oh my God, this is not a Peyton Manning situation. There's only one playoff win since 1950 from a quarterback that's 40 or older. And New England set up perfectly. This year, Tom's 39, no decision needed. Next year, Jimmy Garoppolo still under contract, no decision needed. The following year, 2018, Garoppolo's your guy. Can't pay both of them. The drop-off for old quarterbacks, never forget this, is sudden. Peyton Manning went from 55 touchdowns to 39 touchdowns to 9.
This is The Herd.
No, you say you're down with it.
With Colin Cowherd.
What?
Hey, pal, driving a big rig. Time for a little reality check. Let's say you're standing in line to buy movie tickets. A guy wants to cut in front of you. What do you say?
Don't even think about it.
Right. Now, what if a four-wheeler out on the highway wants to cut in front of your truck?
Don't even think about it.
Wrong. Out there, the stakes are higher. So take the high road and back off. In a wreck, everyone loses. A public service safety message from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Hey, I'm Andy Griggs, asking you to help prevent domestic violence. Domestic violence isn't a woman's issue. It hurts all of us. Women are injured and killed every day by their husbands and boyfriends. So it's time for men to take action right now to teach boys that violence against women is wrong, to help prevent abuse before it starts. Call the Family Violence Prevention Fund at 1-800-END-ABUSE to get a free Take Action kit containing tips on what to say to boys. That's 1-800-END-ABUSE. Teach early.
Do your children think money comes from a magic machine and a bank wall?
Don Blandon is president of the American Savings Education Council.
What we teach our children about money can stay with them a lifetime. Make planning and saving a family affair and choose to save.
Visit www.choosetosave.org for tools to help you talk to your kids about money. That's choosetosave.org.
Choose to save.
Close your eyes in Chicago, and you can hear the sound of zebra braying in Africa. Look hard out your window in D.C., and you can see the snow-covered peaks of the Andes. The world is that small. We are that connected. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together. EarthShare, one environment, one simple way to care for it all. A public service message from EarthShare and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Morgan Freeman. America's national park system is one of the best ideas our country ever had, and I've got a lifetime of memories to prove it. But our parks are in trouble. Inadequate funding and other pressures are risking some of America's most awe-inspiring places. To help, visit www.americansfornationalparks.org or call 1-800-NATPARK, 1-800-NAT-PARK. There's just too much to lose.
Hi, I'm Pat Sajak. Taking a chance can pay off big in a game show, but you shouldn't take chances with your child's health. Shriners Hospitals provide world-class orthopedic and burn medical care to children totally free of charge. And they combine that care with leading-edge research and an outstanding teaching program. There's a Shriners Hospital serving kids from this area. For more information or to refer a child, call 1-800-237-5055. Shriners, giving help and hope to kids for over 80 years.
Strike up the band.
Drums, please.
And let your school colors fly high.
I had a success 3 years.
College football is on and cracking through your speakers.
He's at 25, the 20, they dive at him. They miss him. He's in the end zone.
The plays.
How about that?
The breakdown.
You know what I want to talk about? College football.
And all the action that makes you scream. All of your teams are covered right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Hi, it's The Herd. When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
Now back to The Herd.
Great to have you in. What a weekend of football. College Saturday, NFL Sunday, Patriots, Seahawks. In my opinion, you were watching the Super Bowl preview last night. Now, Pittsburgh and Dallas was wildly fun. Best pillow fight I've ever seen. Wildly entertaining. I love, even my wife, it came in just like, can I just sit here? And I'm like, let me ponder that. Are you allowed in my man room to watch with me? Okay, come on in.
Do you say she can't ask any questions if she sits there?
No, she starts talking about what's in Nickelback, and then I'm like, okay, out.
That's sweet.
No, I'm not into sweet. There's the exit. Let's talk football. So she came in last night, and I said, no questions. Just watch the game. No questions.
You tell her Nickelback is a band.
That's exactly right. She asked a bunch of questions, and I don't have patience for it, and I can't hear Joe Buck talking and Troy Aikman talking. I'm like, stop talking. Just come in and watch the football game. So we had ground rules. She came into the room, and I said, ground rules, no talking. I don't know. Devices down, watch the game, and love me. So she agreed to those.
And love you. That's not fair.
So she agreed to those terms. So I'm watching the game. It was just fantastic. But here we go again. Uncle Colin is ahead of the curve on this. Big Ben Roethlisberger goes 37 of 46. 408 yards at home. And you lose. Mike Tomlin, once again, this team is all over the map and not buttoned up. Face mask penalties, a hit out of bounds on one of the next to last drives for Dallas. Listen, the four best teams in this league, most talented, look like, in no order, Dallas, New England, Seattle. I'd throw Pittsburgh up there. Which one don't you trust in a big spot? And last night, after this game, there was a real moment here. You don't believe me. Ben Roethlisberger, for the second time in a month, came out and criticized the coaching staff. Listen to this.
They're a great football team. Like I said, we undisciplined and not accountable. That's why they're one of the best in the business, and we're not right now.
Whoa. Now, folks, there is a big difference, a monumental difference between voting for a candidate and putting his or her sign in your yard. Okay, you put a sign in your yard for whoever you're going to vote for. That's more than a vote. You're a messenger. You'll go to a cocktail party and talk about it. You put a bumper sticker on your truck for a candidate or a sign in your yard. That's not just voting. You're now an ambassador. You are proud of it. You will fight for it. You will argue. You will call radio shows. That's why those signs are significant. The media never spotted it, but there were all sorts of red signs all over America. Media didn't want to pay attention to. Really a huge difference. Unhappy as a star quarterback and calling out your coach. Okay, you do understand. A lot of quarterbacks are unhappy. Big Ben has called out his head coach 2 times publicly in the last month. That is putting a sign in your yard and a bumper sticker on your truck. That is not just voting. That is promoting. That is not just criticism of Mike Tomlin. That is telling everybody in football, your owner, your general manager, people that have power, I'm not happy with who is coaching us. That is one of the big moments of the year. Been on this for a couple of months. Good businesses are consistent businesses. The Steelers are talented. You do not know what you get series to series, game to game, half to half, play to play. You don't know what you get. You know what you get with Seattle effort. You know what you get with New England. You know what you get with Kansas City and Andy Reid. Same low-scoring, tough, physical football team. No mistakes. They take it. They don't giveth every week. You know what you get with the Steelers. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben, all sorts of players. All sorts of players. And here's the truth is, once you're successful, there's a force field. He won a Super Bowl. It's like Judd Apatow. Judd Apatow made 40-Year-Old Virgin, one of my favorite movies of all time. I think my favorite comedy of all time, after Miss Doubtfire, which is like the best movie ever.
What?
Yeah, that's not even a comedy. That's just great cinema. But I'm telling you, 40-Year-Old Virgin's great. Since then, Judd Apatow, a lot of swing and misses. But he was successful. Same with Johnny Depp. When he's not playing a pirate or a person with scissors for fingers, he stinks. But once you had a big one, once you get the Super Bowl, once you do Edward Scissorhands, once you do 40-Year-Old Virgin, force field. And all the arrows just hit the force field and drop off. Like Mike Tomlin right now, that team, you don't know what you're getting. They gave that game away. They gave that game, and that's nothing on Dallas. Dallas went on the road. I mean, Dallas is what Dallas is. Great offensive line, good running game, fun to watch, a lot of points. I mean, that's like 35, 35, 34, 29. You get all sorts of points with the Cowboys every week. I don't love their defense, and I think their pass defense is really, really marginal at best. But this is not me clobbering Dallas. Dallas is one of the better teams in the league. Pittsburgh, though, wow. Wow. Big Ben came out and clobbered him. That is a bumper sticker on a truck. That's not just voting, that's promoting. That's for the owner to hear. That is for the owner to hear. Christine with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Here's another bad loss. The Packers lost 47-25 to the Titans, of all teams. And we heard Aaron Rodgers explain why he thinks his team lost last week. And here's his explanation for it this week.
I was proud of our preparation. We had a great week. Ha had a great speech in the locker room. I mean, he's a great leader for us. We just didn't execute very well. I think guys are ready to play, but it comes down to execution. You can say all the right things and be prepared as possible, but it comes down to execute when you get out there, and we didn't execute as well enough on offense to kind of give us some momentum early.
Well, he got popped late.
Yeah, and in all fairness, last week it seemed like he was putting the blame on everyone but himself, and he actually did take some of the blame this time, and he said that it starts with him, and he was 31 for 51, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but they were playing from behind. So are we putting too much of the blame on Aaron Rodgers?
Here's my takeaway. I watched that game yesterday. I like Marcus Mariota. Younger, better mood, taller, stronger, more athletic, and just as accurate, and doesn't ad-lib. I watched that game yesterday. Everybody loves Aaron Rodgers. You know what I like? I like Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota doesn't complain, not condescending, super, super accurate, bigger, stronger. Marcus Mariota is becoming like the Derek Carr of the South. Like Derek Carr with Oakland. You're like, oh, that's a star. Dak Prescott in Dallas. Oh, that's a star. Nobody pays attention to the Tennessee Titans. Marcus Mariota is a star.
What do you think about him being a leader?
Oh, he's not a big talker, but when I watch him, you talk about consistent. I mean, everybody's paying attention to Aaron Rodgers. I'm kind of off the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's like, okay, whatever. He and McCarthy, whatever. I watched that game yesterday, and I like the quarterback who I feel like knows exactly one of the quarterbacks in that game. I feel like his team is rallying around, and it's not Aaron Rodgers.
Tony Romo will be active next week, but he will not be the starter. And there are reports now that he's willing to accept the backup role to Dak Prescott. And here's Jerry Jones on why you just can't take Dak out of the starting role right now.
Well, I think that the longer he plays like this, the more we have a chance to have another win. And everybody here wants to do only really one thing, is win. And there's nobody that would introduce any other issue or any other consideration other than do whatever it takes to win the game. So today, to be able to come out here with a win doesn't just obliterates any thought about any of the issues that you might have as to who's out on the field. This was a team unit.
I hate those locker room interviews
because you can't hear anything.
Not really. I can. My radio audience can. I could, but I listen. It's Dak's team now, so it's Dak's team.
There's a picture that I came across this morning where Dak was actually at the podium, which is a much better setting to do interviews because you can plug in your mic and get clear sound. And you see off to the distance is Jerry Jones just beaming at him like it's like his little baby boy. He's just so happy, and it doesn't look like the face of an owner who plans on taking Dak out of the starting role anytime soon.
I was looking at. Let me give you the points here. I was right. He's first of all, Dak's 5-0 on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is not the Tim Tebow thing. Okay, this is not like Tebow was winning 10-6. If you look at what Dak has scored, I was just looking at the numbers. I mean, they're going on the road. Here's what Dallas has scored. Forget the defense. 35, 35, 29, 28, 30, 31, 24, 27. Doesn't matter what the name of the quarterback is.
No.
If my quarterback... Now, I still contend the offensive line is making everybody for Dallas look way... If you gave me Tampa's offensive line, you could take 8 points off all those scores. But Dallas has Dallas's offensive line, and Dak's playing very well, and he's composed. you're not going to pull him out. It's not like it's not the Tebow thing where he was winning like 12-9.
What impresses me the most is just his composure. That was a crazy game yesterday, and he could have lost it, especially for a rookie, but he just stays so composed, and it seems like he's really leading the team, which is great.
Yeah.
The last game of the night, last night, I did not like the ending at all, but on the fourth down from the 1 and goal, the Patriots, their final offensive play, Rob Gronkowski thought that he was being held by Cam Chancellor.
Right.
And it looked like to be insisting that he should have gotten that call. But after the game, they asked about it again, and he changed his mind a little bit.
I think it called. It is what it is. If it's not a PI to the refs, and it's not PI to the refs. So play is what it is. Can't really change it.
I love that.
I love that it's very Patriots. I'm not shocked at all by Gronkowski's words there. But they shouldn't have been in that position in the first place.
That's right.
Where a last-second play at the end of the game could cost them the game. They just did not look like the Patriots at all last night.
No.
Their defense was terrible.
Listen, you're looking at great. You know what happens when you face a great team? There's going to be moments you look bad. Seattle's going to make you look bad. And there were times New England made Seattle look not so great. That's what happens when you face. Now, I think Seattle's roster's got more good players. That defense.
Really?
I think Seattle's got a lot of, their system, they got 3 different running backs. It's just, they got a lot of players.
I thought Richard Sherman looked great.
Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Well, he's one of the greatest players in league history. Not just one of the greatest running backs. He's one of the greatest players in the history of the league. A multi-time Pro Bowler, a Hall of Famer, the single-season rushing record, 2,100 yards and change, NFL rookie season rushing record, which could be broken by Ezekiel Elliott. Let's bring on Eric Dickerson to our show. And, the only one running back has ever run like you in the history of the league. And he is not you. Rashaan Salam had that upright stance, but the great ones often play different. Nobody looked like Steve Young till Steve Dunk. Nobody looked like you as a runner until you. Okay, so you watch Ezekiel Elliott, and these Cowboy fans, they pelt me with hate mail because I keep saying, can we give the offensive line
a little love?
What if Ezekiel had the Rams O-line?
Oh, it would be a whole different animal. I just said that. I said that yesterday. I said if Zeke had the offensive line at the Rams, he had to run behind that offensive line, it would be way different. And that's not taking anything away from him. Just understand, offensive linemen are so important. They're the bread and butter of your football team, especially this Cowboys football team. When you look at that last run he had, it was like, man, I really believe I could have ran through that hole and made it to the end zone.
And how old are you right now?
56. And I think I might have dove in for the touchdown, but I might not have been any good for the next month. But I think I could have got there.
So, what do you make of Dak? Who do you compare him to?
Well, Colin, I saw Dak play in the preseason when he played the Rams, the first game of the season. And I'm like, man, who is this kid? And for me, accuracy is everything. And I'm not a quarterback. I'm not a quarterback guru. I'm not a quarterback. But when you can put the ball where it has to be, and he did it 3 times in that football game, I'm like, wow, this kid can throw the football. And when Tony got hurt and he came in, I said that this guy's going to be a good player. And in week 2, people said, I don't know. You got to bring Tony back. Tony got to rush back. I said, I don't think so. I think this guy is a real deal. He reminds me so much of Warren Moon. His composure, the way he stands in the pocket, his accuracy, the tight spiral he throws. He could be up for MVP. You could almost have co-MVPs. Him and Ezekiel Elliott could both be co-MVPs. That's how good both of them are playing right now, to me.
It's interesting. When you played, you could draft a running back. But now the basic narrative is don't draft running backs. I would imagine you're pro running back. But of
course.
But is Ezekiel to you, now I want Hall of Fame running back on great rookie running back. What does he do that you see that maybe I don't see as a running back?
Well, one thing he does is he really watches his block. Like, I'll say this much here. In the first couple of weeks, because I talked to Zeke, I was texting him back and forth, and I told him, hey, just let it come to you. It'll happen. Just let the game come to you. It'll happen. Because
Le'Veon Bell's pretty good at that.
He's very good at that. You see, he's the same kind of runner. He kind of waits, and then hits the hole.
Right.
Zeke does the same thing. I told him, just let the game come to you, and it'll start happening. And as you watch it, that's what he's doing now. But you know what's giving him that opportunity?
What?
The offensive line is stalemating the defensive line at the line of scrimmage. If you got penetration in the backfield, the play is over. But I mean, you can wait and wait because the offensive line is giving you time to pick and choose your holes.
You know, we were talking about offensive lines, and I have this sort of theory that you live in Los Angeles and you work. You're obviously commenting a lot on the Rams. And my takeaway on the LA Rams and Jared Goff is they've drafted 10 offensive linemen in 4 years. None are great. Is it possible, like with the Rams, that staff, that organization isn't good with offensive players?
Well, Jeff Fisher's a defensive guy. And if you notice, the defense is solid, very good.
Every year.
Every year they're solid. So most definitely, you have to put it's something to that. But also, you have to look at I call them the suits, the guys up top that are letting these things happen. Like, people say that Jared Goff, that was Fisher's guy. Me personally, I don't believe that. He's a defensive guy. I don't think Fisher would trade away his whole team, for one player. And I say that because if that's the case, the Rams are one player away. If you look at the team, what would we supposedly? We were a quarterback away. We're not a quarterback away. We're receivers away. We're offensive linemen away. I mean, we don't know what Jared Goff can do because he hasn't played in the regular season. So
you think Jeff Fisher's hand, Eric, was forced a little?
I believe his hand was forced. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, when it was all said and done, when they did it, he had to say, "This is my guy." We're gonna say, "No, this is not the guy I want." Right. Of course, he had to say, "This is my guy." I mean, you have to.
Eric Dickerson, one of the all-time great NFL players, period, Hall of Famer, multiple Pro Bowlers, Offensive Player of the Year. I was talking about this with the Steelers. Like Mike Tomlin, he won a Super Bowl, got the 2, so he's not incompetent. But I find Pittsburgh to be wildly inconsistent. Not New England, not Seattle, not Kansas City. I think a good business, if you go to Starbucks, you get the same coffee, whether you're in downtown LA or Beijing. That's good business. When you go back to your career, did you play with locker rooms that were disciplined and undisciplined? Does it shift year to year?
Oh, most definitely. You have both. It's like, I'll say this much, with the Rams, that was a disciplined locker room because we had a lot of veteran players. We
Jackie
had
Slater,
Dennis Hara. I mean, we had a lot of guys, Dougson. We had David Hill. We had a lot of guys that had been there for years. Grown men. I mean, my offensive line had been together 6.5 years when I got there. So we had a lot of Jack Youngblood. I mean, I was a big Jack Youngblood fan. So we had a veteran locker room. The nonsense wasn't going to happen. When I went to the Colts, we had a pretty much kind of a veteran team a little bit. But when we traded for Jeff George, we got rid of a lot of veteran players
to pay for him.
And now we got a young locker room, and it showed.
How?
One way I can say it showed. It was really disturbing to me is when we had one of those seasons we were losing, and the players said, "Man, I'm just getting my check." I'm like, have some pride. Have some pride. You just want to go out and take these butt kickings every week with no pride involved in it. And that was the frustrating thing. You didn't have anyone that would stand up and say, "Hey, man, this team, this is where we're going. We're not here, we're going here." I mean, it was just so frustrating. I mean, because I was a Steeler fan too. Believe it or not, I was a Steeler fan. You know why? Because they used to beat the Cowboys. So I became a Steeler fan. I look at the Steelers as a team that's always had a solid foundation.
Yes.
A real solid foundation. You knew what they were. If defense is gonna hit you in the mouth, they're gonna play tough, and they're gonna get in your face. They're gonna get in each other's face if they're not playing hard and they're not playing right. And right now, I don't think that's happening with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they've had some injuries, but it is what it is. That's football. Football is a sport that you're gonna get hit and you're gonna get hurt.
When you watched Seattle, New England last night, and I said I started my show saying I love the Steelers Cowboys. It was a great TV product. But when I was watching that game last night, the chess match between Belichick and Pete. I watched the Super Bowl and I watched that game. Very few guys can go up against Belichick and play with him. And you can sense half to half, possession to possession. Pete Carroll's very different. Now, Eric, in your career, I want you to go back to your coaches. Pete's chewing gum 100 miles an hour. He looks like a grad assistant. He's high-fiving his players. He doesn't really act and look like when he was at USC.
Like NFL coach.
He's 60 going on 24. When you watch Pete, what do you see? What's his magic?
It's funny you say that. I think it was a couple of weeks ago they won a game. I forgot which game it was. And Pete was not going. They were going in at halftime, and he was hugging the players and grabbing the players. And I'm like, see, that's why they love him. he's like one of us. He's like one of the players. Even though he's the head coach, he can relate to us. Come on, guys, come on. It's halftime. We're leading. Come on. That's the kind of coach he is. And one thing about Seattle is that when I look at their football, they're a talented football team. Too.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a team that has a little bit of talent. So when you play a team like the New England Patriots, and if you got just as much talent, I think they have more talent.
So do I.
It's no problem. It's like, hey, we're just as talented as you, if not even more. So with having a coach that can relate to his players, the players love, they're going to play that much harder for the coach. Because you know why? You don't want to let your coach down.
So much fun. Before we let you go, Eric Dickerson. So you played in the league for a long time, and you probably took your share of Toradol shots or whatever they call them to play. But you were a guy, you were a workhorse, and some people have said Ezekiel Elliott, they're just running him too much. So I want you to go back to your career. Could I make the argument that they're leaning on Ezekiel Elliott, but now, Eric, the weather gets cold. It gets a little harder to wake up in the morning. You know what it's like. Could I make the argument the Cowboys are built for the regular season? They're going to wear that young kid out later.
Yes and no. I guarantee if you ask Zeke, he'd want to play every play. He wants to get the ball as much as you can. I did too. Only thing is that I can say when it got to week 11 and 12, for me, I came in at 220, 225.
That was camp weight.
That was camp weight. During the season, I stayed at that weight pretty much. When I got to week 11, because I was not used to basically a 20-game season, preseason and regular season, I dropped my weight to 212. I was tired. I'm like, I am so beat up. I couldn't wait for the season to end so I could kind of get recharged. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to him because they seem to do a good job of rotating him out.
Okay.
But
it is different.
It is different. It is different playing the 12-game season, a 13-game season in college opposed to really a 16-game regular season. Then you got, possibly 3 to 4 games in the playoffs. It's way different. I feel like they're doing a good job with him. I mean, the thing is because he doesn't take the big shots, those big shots. They have a great offensive line.
Yeah, but you didn't take a ton, did you?
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we ran the ball 30, 35 times a game.
God.
With 21 times, that's good. 30, 35 times a game.
So by week 11, 12, you were a different back.
I was a different back. I was beat up. But the second year, the year I ran for 2,000 yards, I said, I'm going to be more prepared. I'm going to get my body in better shape. And I was ready for that 16-game season. There was no problem. So it really just depends on the player, and it depends on the injuries you have. If you have a shoulder injury, rib injury, it's hard to run, with that authority that you want to run with. If you have a knee injury, for sure you can't cut. So you try to stay away from the little nagging injuries.
Great seeing you, man.
Hey, I'm good seeing you, man. Great show too.
Oh, thank you so much. I cannot wait to have you on again.
I need to have somebody sitting in.
Hi.
Hey, sit next to me.
Next time I'll come sit next to you.
Stick around on FS1. Skip and Shannon. We're not going to commercial. Blown away by the stunning 8-1 start by the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, it's me, your house. If these walls could talk, which they can, they'd say it's time for a fresh coat of paint. Lowe's Paint Pledge guarantees that if you don't love it, they'll make it right. Do that for me, and I'll keep my floors quiet when you sneak down for your midnight snack.
Make your home happy with great deals at Lowe's, like 15% off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Paint. Valid 11/2 through 11/16. Pledge valid on interior and exterior liquid paint purchases only. Restrictions apply. U.S. only.
Welcome to Geico's Motorcycle Meanderings.
Oh man, this is great. I sure saved a lot of money by switching to Geico. I scored some big savings, and now I can use their mobile app 24/7 for all sorts of stuff. Life just makes sense now. What doesn't make sense is if a highway splits, it's a fork in the road. Then wouldn't the long straight stretch be a knife in the road? And then wouldn't a cul-de-sac be a spoon in the road? What would a spork be?
Geico Motorcycle. Savings that make sense.
Okay, here we go, people.
This is The Herd.
Where are you again?
With Colin Cowherd.
Conor McGregor, the UFC featherweight champ, is going to fight Eddie Alvarez. How surprised were you when he called you the least intimidating he's ever fought?
He's got to say something to hype himself up, but in reality, all they do is talk about me. All they do is worry about me. His coach has been planning to fight me since way back. So he can say what he wants, but when we came face-to-face originally, he stood on his tippy toes. He had a weird reaction, started making these funny faces, tilting his head side to side. You can't hide these reactions. in that moment, in that pressure moment when the fans and everyone's there, you cannot fake these moments. You can't hide them. And between me and him, we could see what's happening. It's a guy that doesn't know what's happening. He's panicking in there, and he's trying to convince himself this is not what this is, but it is what it is. And on Saturday night, he will find that out.
This is The Herd.
No, you say you're down with it.
With Colin Cowherd.
What?
Hi, I'm Tim McGraw. Every 2 seconds, someone in America needs blood. Accident victims, cancer patients, and individuals with blood disorders and other illnesses. They may live next door or up the block or across